Hello students, this is Dr. A.S. Ayyad. In previous class, we have derived standard stiffness matrix of beam element. Now today we will start the numerical examples on member approach of stiffness matrix method used for the analysis of continuous beams. Okay, so today we'll see the first example on beam analysis using member approach of stiffness matrix method. Before that, we will discuss the steps of the solution briefly when you are solving the problem using member approach. In the member approach, very first step is divide the beam into number of elements, or you can say number of members. And since it is a member approach, we have to consider one span of the beam as a one member, or it is also called as element. One span is equal to one member. Then identify total degrees of freedom. We know that in case of beam, at each joint there are two unknowns. One is vertical translation and second is rotation. So at each joint there are two unknowns. Identify total number of joints in the given beam, multiply by 2. You will get total degrees of freedom in the given beam. This total degrees of freedom will decide the size of a global stiffness matrix. Now, once you divide the given beam into number of members, one by one we have to find out the stiffness matrix of all members or elements. Okay, so depending on number of elements or number of members, you have to find out the stiffness matrix. The standard stiffness matrix which we have derived in the last class, that stiffness matrix you have to use to find out the stiffness matrix of all elements. So this is the standard stiffness matrix which we have derived in the last class, which you have to use. Then once you find out the stiffness matrix of all members, then we have to assemble all element or member stiffness matrices together to write down the final global stiffness matrix. Okay. Remember, unless and until it is mentioned in the statement of numerical example that write down the global stiffness matrix, don't write down global stiffness matrix in the examination, because it takes a lot of time, and since it is not a mandatory step, we can directly go to the next step number 5, that imposing the boundary conditions. So whatever, depending on the support conditions provided in the beam, which kinematic unknowns or which degrees of freedom are 0, those are called as boundary conditions. And if you impose that boundary conditions in the global stiffness matrix or even in element stiffness matrix, you can directly find out the reduced stiffness matrix. Reduced stiffness matrix means a stiffness matrix developed for non-zero kinematic unknowns. Please understand, the kinematic unknowns which are 0 are treated as a boundary conditions, and the kinematic unknowns which are not 0, those which we have to determine. So the stiffness matrix corresponding to non-zero kinematic unknowns is called as reduced stiffness matrix. And without considering any boundary conditions, the stiffness matrix for total number of degrees of freedom is called as global stiffness matrix. The stiffness matrix for one single member is called as member stiffness matrix, this one. So there are three types of stiffness matrices in member approach. First one is a stiffness matrix for each member, which is of order 4 by 4. Second stiffness matrix is a global stiffness matrix. The order of global stiffness matrix is equal to total degrees of freedom. And the third stiffness matrix is called as reduced stiffness matrix. The size of reduced stiffness matrix is equal to total non-zero kinematic unknowns, non-zero degrees of freedom. And 0 degrees of freedom are treated as a boundary conditions in the solution. Now once you find out reduced stiffness matrix, then we have to find out next step the element nodal load vector. Element nodal load vector. So whatever members or elements are there in the given beam, you have to restrain all the supports of those elements or those members. Restrain means fix. Then we have to find out the friction moments because of external load, reactions because of external load, even reaction because of friction moments. So we have to calculate all friction moments and reactions, and using that figure we have to write down the element nodal load vector. How to write down this we will see in the next slide with the simple numerical example. Once you determine the element nodal load vector, then you have to find out the equivalent load vector. Equivalent load vector. Element nodal load vector is represented by small q, whereas the equivalent load vector is represented by f. And this f is equal to, actually, when we saw the numerical example, then we'll see this f is equal to actually minus q. Okay. So element nodal load vector, if you calculate and if you change the sign of that vector, you will get the equivalent load vector. Of course, in detail we will discuss in the numerical example. So once you calculate the small q, f and a reduced stiffness matrix k, finally you have to use the equation k into delta is equal to f, which will gives you the unknown joint displacements or non-zero kinematic unknowns or non-zero degrees of freedom. Okay, these are the brief steps of the solution by member approach. Now we'll start the numerical example. One more thing, finally, if you want to find out the moments and reactions in the given beam, this is the equation which you have to use, k into delta plus small q is equal to f. Okay, so we'll see how to apply this equation in the numerical example. So statement is, please correct this statement, this is not structure approach, this is member approach. Okay, so the statement of numerical example is, analyze the continuous beam as shown in figure using member approach of stiffness matrix method, take EI constant. So for the simplicity, I am solving the same problems by member approach which we already solved by structure approach. So it is simple to understand the difference between structure approach and member approach for the students. So if you consider this beam and if you remember, this already we have solved by structure approach as a problem number 1. So the given beam is of 2 span, AB is the first span, BC is the second span with UDL and central point load. I is varying, AB is equal to 2I and BC having I equal to I only. Okay. Now we know that in member approach, first we have to identify the total number of joints in the given beam. So there are 3 joints in the given beam, A, B and C. If you look at the figure is drawn here. So at A there are 2 unknowns, at B there are 2 unknowns and at C there are 2 unknowns. Without considering the support conditions, there are 2 unknowns at each joint. Those unknowns are designated as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So understand, 1, 3 and 5 are nothing but vertical displacements of A, B and C. It is WA, WB and WC, or you can write down delta A, delta B and delta C. So 1, 3, 5 are the vertical displacement and 2, 4, 6 are the rotations. 2 means theta A, 4 means theta B and 6 means theta C. Okay. So there are 6 unknowns. So what will be the size of global stiffness matrix? Global stiffness matrix of order 6 by 6. Okay. This is size of global stiffness matrix. Please understand now. For one element, size of stiffness matrix is a standard, that is 4 by 4. For one element, it is 4 by 4. Now for global stiffness matrix, for this problem, it will be 6 by 6. Now if you want to write down what is the order of reduced stiffness matrix, first we have to impose the boundary conditions. Boundary conditions means which kinematic unknowns are 0 known to us because of support condition. So if you look at the support A, it is fixed. And we know that if support is fixed, there is no translation, there is no rotation. Means 1 as well as 2, both are equal to 0 because of fixed support. See this block, 1 and 2 both are equal to 0. So out of 6, 2 are 0 at A. Okay. Then if you look at the remaining 2 supports, those are roller supports. Okay. Roller support means what? The horizontal displacement is allowed, but vertical displacement is restrained. Vertical displacement is 0. But since beam is subjected to only vertical forces, there is no chance, there is no possibility of moving the point B and C horizontally. So though the horizontal displacement is allowed, but that horizontal displacement is not possible in beam. Even it is not a degree of freedom at B and C. There is only vertical displacement and rotation, and these vertical displacements are zero at roller support, because there is no vertical displacement allowed in case of hinge or roller support in case of beam. Okay, so WB and WC are 0, that is 3 is equal to 0 and 5 is equal to 0. So understand, out of total 6 unknowns, 1, 2 and 3, 5, so 4 degrees of freedom are 0. 4 degrees of freedom are 0. It means, now what is the remaining non-zero displacement? Out of 6, 4 are 0, means 6 minus 4, answer is 2. 2 degrees of freedom are non-zero. Which are those two? That is 4. 4 means theta B, and 6, that means theta C. These are your final non-zero kinematic unknowns. It means size of reduced stiffness matrix will be 2 by 2. Size of reduced stiffness matrix will be 2 by 2. Please understand, size of one stiffness matrix of member is 4 by 4. Size of global stiffness matrix will be 6 by 6 because of 6 degrees of freedom, and size of reduced stiffness matrix will be 2 by 2 because of only two non-zero kinematic unknowns. This is the step number 1. Now once you study all these things, then one by one we have to find out the stiffness matrix for each member. There are two members in this beam, AB member and BC member. So we have to find out K of AB and K of BC, and for that we have to use the standard stiffness matrix which we have derived in the last class. Okay, so the standard stiffness matrix, if you refer the last class, the first element, this element is 12 EI by L cube. Okay, this element is 12 EI by L cube. Now since we are writing for AB member, this stiffness matrix for AB member, if you look at the statement of problem, I equal to 2I for AB member, I equal to 2I. So that 2 is multiplied to each term of the stiffness matrix. Okay, for these all these terms you please refer the previous video where standard stiffness matrix of beam is derived. The same stiffness matrix is used here to find out all the elements, okay, with the proper sign. So this is 12 EI by L cube 6 EI by L square minus 12 EI by L cube 6 EI by L square. Since stiffness matrix is always symmetric matrix, first row is equal to first column. So first row equal to first column. This term is 4 EI by L. If you look at the standard stiffness matrix, this is 4 EI by L. This is minus 6 EI by L square, and this is 2 EI by L. Second row is equal to second column. So these elements are symmetric in nature. These elements are symmetric. Okay, like this, using the standard stiffness matrix and I equal to 2I here, that 2 is multiplied inside all the elements. This is your final stiffness matrix of member AB. Okay. Now similarly, the stiffness matrix of second member, that is BC, is derived. For stiffness matrix of BC, I is equal to only I. Okay, only I. So EI is outside, and again using length of BC. Length of BC is equal to 4 meter. Okay, length of AB was 6 meter. Length of AB was 6 meter and length of BC is 4 meter now. So using L is equal to 4, I equal to I. So EI is outside, it is constant. So only this L will effect on the stiffness matrix. Okay, so using that again same standard stiffness matrix, we have derived the stiffness matrix of BC member. Okay, so these are the stiffness matrices of two members. But remember, only stiffness matrix is not sufficient. The important step is on the top and right of the stiffness matrix, you have to write down corresponding displacement. Okay, so when we derived the standard stiffness matrix, we discuss one part, that first two columns of stiffness matrix are corresponding to left joint and remaining two columns are corresponding to right joint. So first AB member left joint is A and right joint is B. Similarly, when you solve the or you find out the stiffness matrix of BC member, left joint is B and right joint is C. So understand, first two columns of AB stiffness matrix are corresponding to unknowns of A, those are 1 and 2. Okay, and remaining two columns are corresponding to degrees of freedom at B, those are 3 and 4. So on the top write down 1 2 3 4. Similarly on the right hand side of that matrix representing the row 1 2 3 4. Similarly for BC member, left joint is B. Left joint is B. So 3 4 are the degrees of freedom at B and 5 6 are the degrees of freedom at C. So 3 4 5 6. Similarly on the right part of the matrix. So this is very important part, you please remember. Once you find out the member stiffness matrix, now next step is to find out the global stiffness matrix. Okay, we know that global stiffness matrix is of order 6 by 6. Okay, 6 by 6 means what? First you have to draw one matrix taking EI outside. Okay, take EI outside and then draw one matrix of order 6 by 6. On the top of this 6 by 6 you write down the corresponding displacements. So this is total degrees of freedom in the given beam 1 to 6. So like this, and then on the row also you write down to understand the steepness matrix, how to assemble it. So this is 6 by 6. Now if you want to write down the first element of this matrix, first element, understand what is the position of this element. It represents the column 1 and row 1. It represents the column 1 and row 1 position. So this combination, you just look at the previous two matrices of members and identify, is there any combination present in previous two? If yes, that element you have to write down here. For example, if you look at the these two matrices, this column 1 and row 1, this element is 0.0111. Okay, EI is outside. There is no such combination present in the second matrix. Okay, there is no such combination present in the second matrix. So there is only one combination of this 1 1, and that is 0.111. So that element you have to write down here. So see here. See here. It is 0.11 means represent 0.111. Okay, similarly if you want to write down this element 0.33, it is column 2 and row 1, column 2 and row 1. So this combination, again if you refer the previous column 2 and row 1, column 2 and row 1. Okay, just 1 minute. Yes, column 2 and row 1 means this 2 and this row 1 is a 0.333. Then column 3 and row 1, it is minus 0.111, and column 4 row 1. So these combinations are only in first matrix. These combinations are not available in the second matrix. So with this combination, this global stiffness matrix is written. Okay, so now if you look at this 5U and 6 with the one combination, 5U column row 1, 6 column row 1, these combinations are not present in even both the matrices AB as well as BC. There is 5U and 6 here, but there is no 1, and there is 1 here, but there is no 5U 6. So it means these combinations are not available even in both the matrices, and that's why the element corresponding to these two combinations are 0. Okay, so like this we are collecting the all coefficients. You just see the column position and row position. For example, if you see this is column 4 and row 4, column 4 and row 4. If you want to write down this element if you want to write down, how to write down this 4 4 combination. So 4 4, if you look at, this is 4 in second and 4 in the second matrix, this is 1, right? This is one element, and similar combination is also available in the first matrix. Look at this last column and last row. This is 4 4 means 1.333. Okay, so there are two elements now of this combination 4 4, 1.333 and plus 1. This answer is 2.333. Okay, that's why it is 2.333. So like this you have to find out all the coefficients. This is global stiffness matrix. But remember, this matrix you have to write down only if it is mentioned in the statement of numerical example. Otherwise, no need to write down this, because it takes a lot of time to collect all the coefficients of 6 by 6 order, means 36 elements you have to collect. Okay, so instead of this we can directly go for the next step, that is a reduced stiffness matrix. Reduced stiffness matrix is derived by imposing the boundary conditions. Now boundary conditions already in the first step itself we have written, just repeated those again. Because of fixed support at A, the 1 2 are 0. Okay, and because of roller support at B and C, because of roller support at B and C, the vertical displacements are 0, means 3 and 5 are 0. So 1 2 and 3 5 are 0. It means our remaining non-zero kinematic unknowns are only 4 and 6. 4 means theta B and 6 means theta C. So we have to collect the element corresponding to non-zero only, means 4 4. This element you collect from K of AB and K of BC. Similarly, column 6 row 4, this element you collect from the two matrices. Then since stiffness matrix is symmetric, first row equal to first column, these two elements are same, and then you collect the element corresponding to 6 6, column 6 and row 6. So like this you collect the element corresponding to only non-zero displacement, that is 4 and 6, instead of collecting those 36 elements of global stiffness matrix, right? Now this is reduced stiffness matrix finally. Now once you find out the reduced stiffness matrix, next step is to find out the element nodal load vector. To find out element nodal load vector, first we have to fix or restrain the structure at all supports. Okay, so draw both the members separately and fix it or restrain. It is also called as restrain the structure. Okay, at all supports. So draw two members separately, AB and BC. A, B and C all are fixed. Show the given loading condition of AB member and BC member. It is UDL and central point load. So find out first fixed end moments. We know that because of UDL, fixed end moments are WL square by 12, and because of central point load, fixed end moments are WL by 8. Okay. Left moment is anti-clockwise, which we are taking plus as per our sign convention. Right moment is clockwise, which we are taking minus. So left plus and right minus. So WL square by 12, this fixed end moment is coming calculation 75, that is 25 into 6 square, that is 36, divided by 12, the answer is 75, plus minus at both ends. And second WL by 8 calculation, W is equal to 100, L is equal to 4 divided by 8, answer is 50. Okay, 50 at left and right end. So these are the fixed end moments. Now we have to find out the reactions. Reactions can be calculated in two parts, that already we have discussed in the previous structure approach. So reaction can be calculated in two parts, that is reaction due to external load plus reaction due to moment. So reaction due to external load is very simple. Reaction due to external load is 25 is a UDL multiplied by 6, that is 150 acting at the center. So reaction will be WL by 2. WL by 2, WL by 2 reactions because of the central converting load. So what is W? 25 into 6 divided by 2, the answer is 75. And in the second span it is central point load, so reactions will be W by 2, W by 2. So 100 divided by 2, it is 50 50, right? These are the reaction because of external load. Now reaction due to moments, it's very simple. In the last video during the standard stiffness matrix also we have discussed how to find out reaction due to moment. It's sum of moment divided by span. So sum of moment at two ends. Left end is anti-clockwise, so it is plus 75, and right end is minus because of clockwise, so it is minus 75, divided by span is equal to 6. 75 minus 75, answer is coming 0. So sum of moment is equal to 0. It means there is no reaction because of moment. Similarly, in the second span, 50 is a left moment, that is anti-clockwise plus, and 50 right moment is clockwise, so minus. 50 minus 50 divided by 4, this answer is also equal to 0. So there is no reaction because of moment in the given problem. There is only reaction because of external load, which is 75, 75, 50 and 50 into span. Okay, so with this figure now we have to complete the element nodal load vector. Element nodal load vector is represented by small q vector. Okay, small q of AB we have to write down separately, and BC we have to write down separately. Okay, So what is Q of AB BC? Okay, so what is the first in the Q of AB? There will be 4 elements corresponding to 4 kinematic unknowns in AB. 1 2 on left, that is A joint, and 3 4 on B joint. Similarly, it is BC here, Q of BC, 3 4 on joint B and 5 6 on joint C. Okay, so this is AB. Now 1 means what? Vertical translation. 1 means vertical translation at A, corresponding action is vertical reaction at A. So this is corresponding to 1, and 2 means rotation at A, corresponding action is moment at A. So this is corresponding to 2. So vertical reaction is corresponding to vertical translation, that is vertical displacement, and moment is action corresponding to rotation. So this is 1 2, this will be corresponding to 3, and this will be corresponding to 4. Similarly here, this will be corresponding to 3 in member BC, this is corresponding to 4, this 50 is corresponding to 5, and this 50 is corresponding to 6. Understand now? This is 1 2 3 4, 75 75 75 minus 75. This minus 75 because of clockwise moment here, corresponding to 4. Similarly second, it is 50 50 50 and minus 50 because of clockwise moment. Okay, so this is Q of BC. If you want, we can write down finally the even global element nodal load vector corresponding to all 6 unknowns. Okay, all 6 unknowns. So 1 2 3 4 5 6, if you write down one, if you look at this one here, it is 75. 2 means here it is 75. 3 and 4, if you look at 3 or 4 repeated in Q of AB as well as Q of BC. So those 3 can be added. 75 plus 50, this is 125, and this minus 75 plus 50, this can be minus 25. So 3 4 are added from AB with BC. So it is AB plus BC. Rest 1 2 and 5 6 are not common in 2, so it is separately. 1 2 is 75 75 from first element nodal load vector, and 5 6 are from second Q of BC, that is 50 minus 50. So this is final global element nodal load vector. Of course we are interested in only non-zero kinematic unknowns, and those are 4 and 6. So other 1 2 3 and 5 are 0, and that's why those are eliminated. Those are eliminated from this. So there is remaining is only corresponding to 4 and 6. So it is minus 25 and minus 50. So small q is equal to, directly we can write down corresponding to 4 and 6. It is minus 25 and minus 50. Okay, this is corresponding to non-zero kinematic, that is 4 and 6. 4 represent theta b, 6 represent theta c. Once you find out this small q, we have to find out equivalent load vector. Equivalent load vector is equal to, it is represented by vector F, capital F. F is equal to minus of Q, minus of Q. So whatever Q we have derived in the last step, that sign we have to change. This was the Q, minus 25 and minus 50 was the Q in the previous step. Now signs, if you use minus Q, means both minus become plus. So it is plus 25 and plus 50. Okay. Now one more point, plus there is a joint forces. The joint forces are in the original structure actually. Original structure. Okay. In the original structure, corresponding to your non-zero kinematic unknown, 4 means theta b and 6 means theta c. So in the original structure corresponding to theta b and theta c, is there any forces acting at the joints? Which means if you consider the original structure ABC, okay, original ABC beam with a UDL in the first AB span and central point load in BC span. So our first unknown is 4, that is theta b. Corresponding action is moment at B. So in the original structure, is there any moment at B acting? Similarly, second unknown is 6, that is theta c. Corresponding action is moment at C. So in the original structure, is there any external moment at B and C are acting? If yes, those we have to write down in the joint forces plus this here. But in this problem, there is no moment acting at B as well as C, external moment, and that's why these two elements are 0. Please make a note, if any external moment is acting, that moment we have to consider here. With proper sign convention, anti-clockwise is positive and clockwise negative. Okay, so that's why now here, since there is no moment, it is 0 0. So final answer of capital F, that is equivalent load vector, is 25 and 50, which is corresponding to 4 theta b and 6 means theta c. Okay, once you calculate this equivalent load vector, finally we have to use the compatibility condition or equation of equilibrium. K into delta is equal to F, where K stands for reduced stiffness matrix 2 by 2. Delta is equal to final vector of unknowns. 4 means theta b. This is 4 actually. 4 means theta b and 6 means theta c. So K into delta equal to F. F is equal to equivalent load vector. If you solve these two equations, two unknowns in your calculator, finally you will get the unknowns. Theta b is equal to 0 and theta c is equal to 50 upon EI. Remember, answers of rotations are in radians. The unit of answer of rotation is radian. Okay, so theta b equal to 0 and theta c equal to 50 upon EI. Of course, only kinematic unknowns are not sufficient. Finally, we have to draw the bending moment diagram, and for that we have to calculate the moments. Okay, so how to calculate reactions and moments? Reactions are required actually to find out the shear force diagram. We are not interested in reactions, but we'll see that how to find out reactions and moment. To find out reactions and moment, we have to consider the equation. This is capital F actually. F is equal to K into delta plus small q. K into delta plus small q. This is the final equation which we have to consider. Now where F, left hand side, F stands for what are the unknown moments and reactions in your beam structure. Now please make a note, this equation we have to apply for each member separately. So first, if you write down for AB, this will be F of AB, K of AB, delta of AB and small q of AB. This equation we have to apply for each member separately. So FAB, if you look at the AB member in the given beam, at A, reaction is RA and moment is MAB. Similarly at B, reaction is RB and moment is MBA. Okay, so this reaction RA first unknown, MAB second unknown, RB third unknown, MBA at the joint B fourth unknown. So these are the unknown reactions and moments. This is RA, MAB, RB, MBA. So unknown moments and reactions means your left hand side F vector. Now K is equal to member stiffness matrix of that member AB. Okay, so in the first step, second step, we have derived the standard stiffness matrix of each member. So that 4 by 4 matrix we have to use here. Remember, this is the standard stiffness matrix of member AB. In the second step, if you remember, in the second step we have derived that. Okay, here this one, this is AB. This K is used in the last step to calculate the moments and reactions. Okay, so using that stiffness matrix, okay, so this is K of that AB plus delta stands for, this delta stands for values of unknown degrees of freedom in AB member. In AB member, what are the unknown degrees of freedom? 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2 on A joint and 3, 4 on B joint. Okay, these are the unknowns. So 1, 2, what is value of 1, 2 and 3? Because of boundary conditions, those are 0. This 1, 2, 0 because of fixed support and 3 was 0 because of roller support. Remember, 1, 2, 3 are 0 because of boundary conditions and 4 is equal to 0 by calculation. We are getting theta b equal to 0 in the previous step. This one, theta b is equal to 0 by calculation. Theta b is represented by 4 and theta c is represented by 6. Okay, so by calculation 4 is coming 0. So understand. So that's why now 1, 2, 3, 4 all are 0. So F is equal to K into delta plus, now small q is equal to element nodal load vector of AB member. Small q of AB represent element nodal load vector of AB. If you remember element nodal load vector step, there we have determined for AB and BC. This one, see this is element nodal load vector for AB. Okay, 75, 75, 75 minus 75, and this is Q of BC. Okay, this is Q of element nodal load vector of BC. 50, 50, 50 minus 50. So this small q is used in the last step. This one, this 75 is that one. Okay, this one. So these are the all matrices. So now finally k into delta we have to multiply first. These two matrices we have to multiply, and then we have to add the plus q, means each element one by one. We will get RA, MAB, RB and MBA, right? So since these all elements are 0 in this matrix, this multiplication will be 0, and directly we will get this matrix is equal to this matrix, right? Okay, because of this 0, this product k into delta equal to 0, and we will get F is equal to Q directly. So this is the answer, 75, 75, 75 minus 75. Q is F is equal to Q. Similarly, we have to apply that equation for the second member, that is BC. Okay, second member BC. So unknowns of BC are left joint is B, so RB and MBC. First is reaction, second is moment. Then second right joint is C, so RC and MCB. Okay, one more important thing, if you remember, already we have discussed in structure approach. If end support of the beam is simple support, it may be hinge or it may be roller. Okay, any. But if end is 0, the moment at that end support is always equal to 0. Okay, so this C, moment at C is known to us, and which is actually called as MCB. MCB is already known to us. You must get that is equal to 0 by calculation. Then only you can say that your all calculations are correct. Otherwise, if you are not getting it is equal to 0, it means you made a mistake somewhere to calculate the moments. Okay, so now following the same process, this is K of BC. Now from the second step we have taken this as it is. Now the delta is equal to delta for BC member. What are the unknowns for BC member? It is 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, these are the unknown degrees of freedom. 3 is equal to 0, 5 equal to 0 because of boundary conditions. 6 is equal to 0 by calculation. Sorry, 4 equal to 0 by calculation, and 6 is equal to 50 upon EI. If you remember previous step, theta is equal to 50 upon EI. So it is 51 upon EI is taken outside. This EI and this EI will get cancelled. Okay, so 0, 0, 0 and 50. So last element is 50 only. So now if you multiply this K with this delta, K into delta, for all rows, first three elements are 0, means only last element will be multiplied with the 50. This element will be multiplied with the 50, and then plus this 50, 50, 50 minus 50, 1 by 1 you will get the RB, MBC. Okay, this is RC and MCB equal to 0. There is one more check, if you remember. Since B is a common joint to beam, this B is a common joint to beam, the moment BA and moment BC must be same in magnitude and opposite in nature. So here if you look at in the first calculation, this is minus 75 and here it is plus 75 BC. The moment sum of MBA plus MBC must be equal to 0, which is called a joint equilibrium condition. Okay, so like this you can find out the moments. And finally now you can plot the bending moment diagram. All of you know that how to plot the bending moment diagram. Okay, there are three joints A, B, C. Mark those joints. Then since AB is subjected to UDL, it is parabolic in nature, and BC is subjected to central point load, it is triangle in nature. Then whatever moments you calculated, MAB, it is anti-clockwise, so it is upward 75. Then MBA, it is clockwise 75, so it is upward. BC is anti-clockwise, that is minus 75, sorry, plus 75, it is upward, so both are 75 and it is 0 at C. Okay, so this joint is straight line and this is 0 here. Okay, so this is final your net bending moment diagram. This figure is already explained in detail when we conducted the structure approach problem for BMD. Okay, so this is your final bending moment diagram, and this is one complete numerical example to understand the member approach of stiffness matrix method when you use that for the analysis of continuous beam. I hope all of you have understand the numerical example. In the next class, we will take the second problem on the member approach of stiffness matrix method used for the analysis of continuous beam. Okay, thank you very much.